Hello and welcome back. Today we have a guest that might actually need subtitles when he's speaking, but he's a Scottish champ, boxing. Hello, Tam.
Is that a money?
So again, the subtitles is because he's Glaswegian.
Yeah, probably. It could be quite bad. I'm speaking a very professional mannerism. Just
How
for
you
you.
getting on? Just
I
for
know
me.
too bad,
Nice.
man. Yourself.
How's your career so far? Obviously, just newly Scottish champ. How does that feel?
Go. Fantastic to be honest. Can't complain about it. You know what I mean? That's been quite good. Just back to reality. Back to work. Back to training. You know.
Nice. So do you want to dive into a little bit of your background and how you got into boxing and whatever else?
So I started boxing probably back in. You're talking probably about primary school time. Started boxing when I was in primary school because I was getting bullied at primary school. Probably done that for maybe a couple of months. Just to learn how to defend myself, just because I was a wee tiny wee Asian boy, you know what I mean? So I had to learn how to fight people. So after that, I ended up chugging it. Didn't go back till probably about third or fourth year in school because I ended up in a fight one time. This guy was mouthing off, gave me all the racist chant because I was beating him at football, which is extremely surprising because I'm absolutely terrible at football. He was giving me all the racial grief. So I absolutely ended up piecing him up. And then I remember I came home for obviously playing football. And then my brother says to me, and he was like, "That man, you were in a fight. I heard you absolutely pieced him up, whatever. Gave him a doing." And I was like, "No, I've actually got hands." I was like, "Maybe I'll go back." So I ended up going back to the boxing when I was probably in about third or fourth year, must have been about. And it turns out I wasn't too bad. Through to amateur ranks. I went to the British a few times, boxed for Scotland. I went to the Worlds, the Europeans for Scotland, boxing a couple of multi nations here and there, and then
What's
obviously
that like?
it's about
What's it like sort of traveling and boxing with Scotland on your chest?
it. It feels pretty good, you know what I mean? Represent. The accent definitely represents. I remember like being over in like I think it was Kazakhstan. I remember there was a couple of young boys, but obviously in foreign countries they speak like perfect English, perfect. They speak about six languages, and then these wee boys are saying to me, "Where are you from?" And I was with a bunch of boys from Scotland, obviously as well, but they were obviously white. And then I was like, "Scotland? No, no, no. Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, half Chinese," and they were like, "Oh, okay, okay." Then they were understanding.
Yeah. So what's it like sort of getting picked for these squads and what's the process behind that?
Eh, in the amateur background, so just obviously went to a box. Well, I won the Scottish. Got invited into like Scottish training. Then you go to Scottish training. Then they kind of just pick talent for certain weights, and obviously I was pretty good. So got picked for 54 kilo. Not seen that in a while right
Nice.
now.
For people who don't know, what weight are you fighting at just now?
Right now I fight at featherweight, so that's about nine stone on the button, 57 kilo ish.
57. Nice. How do you find getting it down to that weight?
Actually, not too bad. Actually, is I usually sit about 60-ish, and then
Uh,
always the last, like, it must be just mental. Like, you know, there's like a kilo to go, and you're just there, I'm dying. You're like, "Oh, man, there's no more." But it's not as bad as you would think.
yeah. So what's the jump like from amateurs to professional now?
Eh, I guess there is like stylistic wise, it's a bit different because when you're an amateur, people are like, "Oh, you're on your toes, you're boxing outside, you're looking for clean shots." But see, to be honest, you're always looking for clean shots, right enough. I don't know what I'm talking about, but in the program, there people tell you they'll try and sit down your punches. You're trying to obviously take somebody out of there, get to the business end, knock them out, make an early night. You know, on a good 10.
You've got a little bit of experience behind getting people out early.
Well, it turns out I've not got pillow hands, prawn cracker hands, whatever you want to call them, but pretty heavy hands maybe.
To be fair, that last fight you've just had, which you won the Scottish title, is by far one of the best fights I've ever seen because you were sort of in there and you're kind of making it look like he didn't belong there. So, and this, like, I obviously know how much psychology played into this fight and how much he was trying to get into your head. Can you sort of describe what you were feeling and thinking while he was giving it all big licks?
Getting it on the big chat. Eh, I'm quite a chilled out, mellow person, so nothing really. Well, at one point, I guess it would get to me, but I felt pretty calm about it. He was giving me all the grief, like, "Oh, Andy, you shouldn't have won that fight in amateurs. You can't punch. I don't know how you've got all these stoppages, but clearly it's for a reason. Maybe it might be the fast hands, it might be the power, but it doesn't matter. Clearly, something's happening. People are getting stopped."
So we're back. Something happened on my end, but we're back. So let's keep going. Um, what's the sort of process that you went through to get to where you are just now? So from your pro debut to now.
Grafting. Absolute grafting. But nah, I've always been a hard trainer. I think just putting in the time, putting in the work, and that's it. You can, as much as you believe, you know what I mean? Dream. Dream big.
So how many, like with obviously the fights you've had, what sort of challenges have you came up during training camps and sort of your way of getting into that Scottish style?
Uh, so, see, to be honest, I don't even know how it materialised, to be honest. Like, actually getting into Scottish too. I just got, I was on holiday there, and then I got a phone call from my promoter. He was like, "Oh, Andrew, you're going to be fighting Jack Turner for the Scottish title." I was like, "I better get myself home, get myself running."
So what
But
was that process like from that call to then training camp and then on the night fighting?
oh, it was right back into it. I swear to God, I must have got off like when I travelled home from Korea. It was like a whole day's travel, like generally like a whole day's travel. Then I had to drive home from Manchester back up, so that just added to it me being an absolute goose. And then got home at like say it was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Drove home, got home, just kind of tried to stay awake as best as possible. Then the next day I had work, so I went back to work the next day, and then I went back to train the next day. I know.
What was the
So,
sleep like after that?
oh, I was absolute dying, man. I was out cold. Literally come home. I was like, I'm not even making dinner tonight. I'm just going to lie in my bed. Nah, it was a tough one. It was
Yeah,
tough, and then just from there on, it was just like head down, get to it, get the running in, get the road work in, get the road work in,
yeah,
get the fitness up, get the engine in. Now, there we go.
yeah. So what did you do to sort of prepare for that fight?
So that one there, obviously, I think the last time I fought him or even sparred with him, man, must have been a couple of years ago from now. But kind of know the basis for his style. He likes to kind of counter punch. My coaches devised like what they think is a game plan, what I should do. So obviously, try and implement that into training, working on my speed, power, good fitness. The fitness comes from big yourself and Andrew Usher, man. That kind of that tempo stuff, man, up at the uni. That's
Yeah,
me imagining an assault bike and all that, just like
so how does that sort of work with your sports training and strength and conditioning and then conditioning? How do you like prepare everything?
I don't know. I just throw it the guard at some point, man. I'm just winging it. I just try and obviously I try and always get my road work in the morning, then work, and then depending on what day it is, I try and plan around. So say Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be just kind of in the gym, pad work, kind of technical, or maybe some bag circuits in between. Then Tuesday, Thursdays are normally like sparring days, and then Saturday will be like strength and conditioning. And then Sunday's like a rest day or a run or an absolute brutal run up big hills or something like that. Just something that people don't want to do. And then in between, shove in them assault bike circuits and that.
Yeah. So how do you prepare like mentally? Because obviously you're very mental strong in your training. You always like to do the hardest graft. How does that sort of benefit you during these training camps?
I've just always wanted the hard gear. You never want the easy way. I think mentally, just to push yourself through it, I like to just challenge myself. Say, well, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean? I'll get to stage one. Oh well, fuck it. Maybe next time I'll get to next stage two. I just like to give myself. See when people are like, "Oh, don't want to do a tough session today." That's what you're needing. That's what you're
Mm,
needing. See with the days when you go, "I can't be bothered." That's the days where you're like, "Let's get it in,
let's get more. Yeah.
drag the boot."
So I know that you obviously love David Goggins and listening to him every
Oh, I love
morning.
some Goggins.
How does that
Love it.
sort of motivate you every morning to get up and do those runs?
Yeah, that's the only thing. There's powering me through some runs. But actually, I've lost my AirPods now. I lost my headphones. I've not even got headphones. I've not got headphones. I lost my AirPods. So recently I've just been running, just pure silence. David Goggins does talk about that right enough. He's like, music is for
Yes.
cheats. I usually put mine in, and it's just David Goggins book, David Goggins podcasts, David Goggins other book, and then maybe on occasion I might listen to some tunes, but that's usually it. Just in my
That's
head, I'm like,
usually
yeah, stay hard, Daddy, stay hard.
who's going to carry the boats.
Who's going to carry boats and logs? Is it me
So
running? When I'm over or sitting, picking up these sticks. Yeah, me.
picking up with sticks. So obviously, as a pro boxer, you were having to manage your schedule with training, sparring, sort of S&Cs, conditionings, and then you've got media days on top of that. How do you find going into those media days?
Well, right enough. I was actually late. I think I was late for both of them actually. There was like two media days for this fight that came up just there, and I think I was late for both of them. But it's because I was at work. So like
Right.
when you're at work, I'm like, here, I need a way for this time, and then they're like, yeah, that's fine. But then in all reality, jobs drag on and stuff happens. So I was actually late by like, I wasn't actually late. I think I was like 10 minutes late at a push. We'll just say about 10 minutes. But so yeah, it's quite hard. It can be difficult. It can be difficult sometimes, but
Yeah. So what is it that you sort of don't like about the media days?
I don't know. They are quite fun, to be honest. Right, they're quite fun because obviously he's like that fight there. That he's getting all the chat. Like he's getting all the big licks. He's like, oh yeah, I did carry punch, blah blah blah. I just like to. I'm just in the presence, absorbing it all up. I'm like, I'm not on the TV and that on camera. I'm like,
The lead up to the fight, and then when you're obviously in those rounds, obviously I know some of the feelings that you were having during those rounds, but can you sort of go through like your thought process between the rounds and how you found your way around it?
so in between the rounds, I was probably, see, to be honest, right, see, after fights, sometimes I can barely even remember what happened. But to an extent, from what I remember, it's just trying to stay calm and then listen to my coaches to obviously take in obviously the information that they're trying to give you. Like obviously they're watching it from an outside perspective, and then I'm seeing what I'm seeing. But obviously, I try and implement the game plan that we obviously be set out to go with. So obviously, I'm coming out there the first round. What our plan was is that he's going to try and counter me. He's quite a relaxed kind of fighter. He's kind of sitting on the back foot, looking for like big shots. So in and out, counter the counter, get him to draw something, come in, get him to draw out, and then back in again. So just trying to work on that in the first round. I guess it was quite cagey, and then second round trying to pick it up and then keeping it going. Just trying to
Yeah,
stay mentally aware. Don't slack off or else you get caught with something.
yeah. So what was it that your sort of coaches saw? And obviously you've got previous experience fighting them or sparring them. What were they sort of implementing during your training to combat the combat?
Eh, speed, I guess. Speed in and out. The kind of that foot with the feet in and out with the feet. Feint the feint, like feint, come back out and then right back in. So it was like kind of mainly kind of speed, working on the jab, establishing the jab. Get then he's going to have to try and. I think their plan was kind of is like just kind of draw him in,
Hmm.
but it was quite hard because he was just on the back. He's quite a relaxed fighter. He's got a good style, you know what I mean. He's always looking for big shots, eye-catching shots, but more effective. You know what I mean? Just trying to up the
Hmm.
work rate, trying to push him through the paces. I didn't think he would last.
Yeah, that was something that I found is like you had a lot higher percentage in sort of work output than he did. Is that something that you drilled in during training?
Yeah, that one was one of the things I think one of our coaches was saying is like, oh, he's not got an engine like you, Andy. You're going to have to outwork him. You can outpace him, which I do have a good work rate. So I was like, obviously, we tried to implement that, establish the jab, keep the punches going. Obviously, then he's going to have to try and keep up with the work rate, and then he's going to have to try and come out with more output himself and he'll gas himself.
Yeah, 100%. So like during training camps, how much sparring do you actually do in preparation for it?
Sparring wise, probably maybe sparring maybe 2 3 times a week, three a push ish, maybe. 2 3 times a week.
Yeah. Do you feel like that helps you getting that sort of reps in towards the fight?
So I think sparring is like essential because if you don't spar, then it's not the same. Like you hit pads for about 20 rounds and you wouldn't feel as tired as you would coming out of like a pure hard craft, even just one round. See if you had like a pure one, like really, really, really tough round that you're both going for it, then it gets you working, gets the lungs working. Like you could be hitting the pads absolute non-stop, full pelt, but somebody's not hitting you back. Then
Yeah.
somebody starts hitting you back, and like, oh dear, that's just yeah, whoa, stop, don't hit me.
So, do you sort of enjoy that aspect of sparring? Is like that feedback from your opponent at that point?
Oh, I think who doesn't love sparring is like one of the best bits. Seems you hit somebody and then you're like, oh, that was a crisp shot. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than hitting somebody or landing like a couple of clean shots. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Do you get scared if maybe not scared, but wary if you sort of get caught clean and you get concussion before the fight?
I never worry about that. I think maybe it's just on occasion, like a fear of all time. Like I think for any boxer though, at one point is to get knocked out. I think the biggest.
Mm,
It's just not that it's in my
lights you
head,
off.
but like it's a proper fear. It's like enough. I've got a chin, so I'm alright so far.
Do you just stick to the same sort of weight class when you're sparring, or do you go up and down?
Give and take, you know what I mean? It's like some depends on the styles. I don't think if you're going to spar with somebody that's heavier than you, they're not going to fucking full pelt. You know what I mean? They're not going to be trying to come out there and
Mm,
blast you the water. But it just depends on the styles. They might bring somebody in from a club who's a big tall rangy boy because you might be fighting someone tall, but they might be heavier. But still, stylistically wise, and then they'll maybe pop you in with a couple of other people here and there. But to an extent, yeah.
So is that what something that your coaches do a lot? Is like try and match your sparring sessions with someone that's got a similar style to who you're fighting?
Well, I would say that actually, but the boy I was fighting there, Jack, is an orthodox, and the boy that I sparred with pretty much the whole way through, Charlie Doig, and I done some rounds with Ricky Burns as well, which was great. Both of them are great fighters. But Charlie Doig's a southpaw, so that was out the windy. So take it from you, well, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Andrew, we'll get you sparring partners and that." Nah, I sparred with him like many rounds, and then he was a southpaw, but
What was it like sparring Ricky Barnes? Obviously, he's quite of a legend around.
it was good. It was valuable rounds that you can't complain when somebody's like been a world champion, been around the world. You know what I mean? Done it all. So it's just it was a good experience. Still solid, man.
Yeah. Did he sort of give you any tips and wisdom that he passed down during this camp?
Yeah, he did probably just bits and pieces in between sparring and stuff like that. Sparring rounds with him, sparring rounds with Charlie, who's also he trains. So, uh, good information. Then I was doing a lot of running with him as well. He invited me out and run.
Mm.
So it's not as if I was going to say no. I was like, oh, not a problem.
So what was those sessions like when obviously he's been around and he's done his fair share of big steps in the boxing world? What was that sort of like getting passed down this key information?
It was great. Soaking up like a sponge. Probably should have wrote it down because my memory's like a sieve right enough. Probably be writing it down somewhere so I should remember it.
What was
Probably
the
in
most
this year,
memorable
right back
thing
in that one.
he what was the most memorable thing that he like you picked up on while training with him?
It's worked great though, man. My God, man, see
Mm.
the work rate that man has. Man's got an engine, like serious engine, man. Like, I didn't even believe it, man, when he told me he was 40. But my God, man, guy was an absolute athlete.
Is there anyone else that sort of came up into your camp that you were maybe not expecting, or maybe you've seen them and you kind of wanted them in?
All I can think of. See, to be honest, barely remember what happened yesterday, let alone fucking in my training camp. That's not the boxing. That's just me.
That's not a box. It's just me.
That's
That needs
just
to be
my
a
opinion.
T-shirt. That needs to be a T-shirt.
I know. Ain't the boxing. That's just me. There's in one ear, right at the other.
So, what was it like after winning the title? How did life sort of pick up and change from there?
It was pretty good. It kind of just went back to normal. Like after the fight, because I don't drink or that, so obviously went home. We watched the fight back and ate some food and that with my family, and then we went for lunch like that the next day. And then it was back to the graft almost. I had like so obviously the fight was on the Friday. Chilling out Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then went back to work the Tuesday. So it was just like back to reality. Then back to training on Wednesday. I did go down on the
I
Monday just to see the wee guys and that, but that was about it.
Yeah. So I saw you before your training camp. So
Yep.
obviously we spoke a lot about food and sort of what we like to do after sort of a big fight and something like that. What was your first meal after your boxing fight?
I didn't get my KFC. Didn't get my KFC.
Ooh.
My go-to is always KFC, mate. I didn't get it.
What's
I
your
think
order?
what was that?
What was your order?
No, I didn't get it.
No,
I
no,
didn't
but
get
like what would
KFC.
be your usual order?
Oh, my order. Probably a wicked zinger meal, extra hot wing, two
Ooh.
extra hot wings and all, man. Just that's a classic. Or else maybe some chicken on the bone, but yeah, you can't beat a wee zinger meal.
I used to go for the burritos after a judo fight, and
Oh,
they
the wee flaming wraps. Oh,
yes, no, 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 no,
incredible.
the burritos. They used to do burritos.
Did they?
And yeah, and they were amazing. So it had like rice, chicken, beans,
I like a rice
salad
box,
on
you
it.
know, actually. I love a
Mm,
wee zinger rice box. You can't beat a wee rice box.
yeah. So what did you actually have?
What did I actually have? I went back to my sister's house and I had instant noodles, mate. But right enough, my dad was like, "Oh, Eddie." I think my sister made like Eddie, as if you know who that is. But my sister, she made bolognese. I think it was like the day before, and then obviously there was some spare bolognese noodles. My dad made like just instant noodles with like tonkotsu ones or something like spicy ones, and he was like, "Oh, we'll put some spaghetti bolognese on top." It was the weirdest combination. It was actually pretty good though, because I was probably starving fair enough, but it was just a weird combination. It was like it was a weird one, but they were tasty. They were good too.
Yeah. So after, can you sort of go through? Obviously, you mentioned that you still work and you're a professional boxer. Can you sort of explain how that works in the boxing world?
So I guess a lot of fighters like nobody's got that many sponsors where you could probably go full time. So some people maybe could if they've got a lot of good sponsors and stuff like that, but obviously supply like food, your rent, mortgage if even, and then you've still got your training, and then you might not be fighting that often, so you've still got, say you get one good payday, then you've still got all this stuff to pay for, like, and you're not maybe fighting for another 7 months or maybe even 2 months. Because I was out for 2 and a bit years. I never even knew until they told me, like not they told me, but I heard it on like the watching it back. It was like Andrew was out for like 2 years and 8 months. I was like, damn, I was out for that long. Didn't feel it. I'm still training.
So why were you off for those 2 years and 8 months?
I don't have a damn clue. I think in between, like obviously certain fights, I might have picked up like an injury, so I end up pulling out or something like that. Maybe I remember one time I did hurt one of my shoulders, and then I hurt one of my hands as well at one point, and then I ended up with the mumps actually just before COVID. I was
Mm,
supposed to fight. I ended up with the mumps. I ended up like a pure frog. My neck went pure chubby as hell. I was like, uh, and where else? But that's about it really. So just
yeah,
kind of not well, then just back to it, I guess.
yeah. How's it like coming back after hand injuries and
I guess as long as you do like proper recovery. But I think if you're a boxer, everybody's got sore hands at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Everybody's. It's just it's just a part of it. It's like,
so?
oh, I can't fight. I've got sore hands. Is it? Well, everybody's got sore hands unless it's properly hurt. Then I guess you've got to deal with it.
Yeah, so what's the recovery process for you with any type of injuries?
I'm not too sure. I don't really get injured that often, to be honest. But I don't think I do. Maybe I do, but I forget about them. Probably if it's a proper serious, if it was like a hand injury, I would probably still tick over and probably run a lot. And then if it was like I don't get my heart anything below my legs,
Just
punching
keep
maybe.
running. And we're back again. So we were sort of speaking off camera while we came back. Um, have you got any upcoming fights or anything planned?
Uh, Upcoming fights. I'm fighting again on November 3rd in Alloa.
So how does that sort of come about, you getting fights? Or obviously you've got a title now. Is it defense? Is it?
So the one coming up now is I don't even know if it's a defence or it's just a regular fight because they pretty much just said to me it might be this, it might be that. I don't have a clue. Barely, clearly nobody tells me nothing. Maybe it's just gonna carry. Maybe they don't want to tell me because I'll end up blabbing it or something like that, or I just want to keep it hush. But to my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure on what it is. It's just I'm just going to say it's going to be a regular fight, and then they're hoping for the next one after it maybe try and push me on something else. So like a maybe a progression, so a Celtic
Mm.
title or something along those lines. You know.
Yeah. Can you explain what a regular fight is compared to a sort of title defense?
Well, see, to be honest, I'm saying regular fight as if like any fights. So I guess they're all regular fights, but pretty much, I think they're just talking about like a say it was like a 6 round fight, 8 round fight against somebody, and just because obviously the boy needs to be Scottish for it to be a Scottish
Mm.
title defence. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by regular fight. As if like I'm a pure champion in that now. I'm like, I swear at regular fights and that. You know, I'm just you know what I mean, just a fight.
Yeah. So I guess in this case, if it's not a Scottish fighter, it would be a regular fight. If it
Yeah,
was someone Scottish, then it would be a defense fight.
technically, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
then I think they're hoping after that push me onto it, maybe try and get something else, get into the Celtic title or something like that. You know.
Can you explain what that is compared to the Scottish title?
What's that? Sorry.
So, what's the difference between a Scottish title and a Celtic?
So Celtic includes like Ireland in that, doesn't it? Ireland and Wales. So that's like Celtic then puts you in the I think it puts you in the top 10 of the British in Britain.
Right.
Like it's a fighter, and then obviously then there's a British and then European world.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
one
the
of them.
progression essentially for you would be Scottish, Celtic, British, and then World. Is that how it sort of works?
Or European.
Or
Well, I
European?
don't really think it doesn't really apply to everybody because you see some people like they just skip things. I don't think there is a progression to an extent, like like a development of a fighter, but somebody could just like jump from one to another, or they could just jump right into. Look at well, Lomachenko's an exception, I guess, but the second fight, jumping into a world title fight, you know what I mean? Like you can do anything you wanted, I guess, as long as they offered you.
Yeah. So, what would be your ideal next fight?
Yeah, my ideal next fight. That's a good question. I don't actually know. I just like to fight, man. I'm here for the fighting. But I'm hoping. I would hope, even if this one is just like a kind of a regular, not a regular fight. You know what I mean? I keep saying regular as if like say this one is just a fight, and then
I
maybe
think
I'm
that's a good
hoping when push
mentality to
comes.
have, though, is just think of them as regular fights. Because
Well,
then
they are
you'd
all. I
always,
guess at the end of the day, they're all regular. But hopefully, I'm hoping to then progress, and hopefully they'll get me like a something tasty. Maybe get a wee tasty wage, you know.
so yeah, what would be your sort of ideal next step, like fight wise?
I would hope for maybe kind of getting into the looking for like a Celtic title or something like that. Just trying to. You don't want to jump too fast because technically everybody's still learning at the end of the day. So I'd like to get in a couple of fights in, maybe one, then a Celtic, and then
Hmm.
see where we progress from there. See what gets thrown in the mix. Not as if anybody would tell me. They would just tell me that, oh, Andy, you're fighting such and such. Okay, sounds good.
So how does that work with your promotion? How does that? How do they sort of find your fights and then sort of put you forward for them?
Oh, I don't have a clue. That's a yeah, I don't have a clue. I'm assuming there is some sort of process in there, but I have maybe maybe now they'll come to me and be like, Andrew, what do you think about this? But I don't know. I just let
Yeah,
deal with it.
you
I'm
just
just here
rock
for the
up,
fight.
show up and show
I'm
out.
just here. I'm just here, rock up in the night. Somebody tell me the weight and what time and place. I'll train for it.
Nice. I like that mentality though. That's actually something that we sort of connected on, and that's I think our first session was obviously I'm a very vocal coach,
Yes.
and I think you sort of drew to that. What's like the thing that you look for in your coaches?
I feel like somebody's going to push you. Like, that's what I think. That's why me and you got along so well because obviously we met through the uni, and I think a good coach is somebody that's going to push you as far as you can go. Like some people are going to give up. Certain people will give up at like 10%. You know what I mean? So when I was pushing in, I think it might have been the bike at that point, even in the running as well, and the arm one. I remember just the bike one. I remember essentially it was like, "Come on, Andy, dig, 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 dig," and I was just like, "Oh, Andy, you've got more," and you're like, "You know what? I've got more." You know what I mean? You're going for it, you're like, even though I'm dying inside, I was like, "Oh, I've got nothing," but you're like, "Come on, Andy, I know you've got more," and I was like, "Oh, okay," cycling away, grafting.
No, that is something I like to say to everyone because everyone does have more in their tank than what they think. So by having someone shouting at you saying like you've got more in that tank, let's fucking push it. So how like in your head at that time, what sort of goes through your head when you're getting told you've got more in there, let's go?
Well, I'm thinking, you know what? You're right. I'm just thinking, most of the time, see if somebody even said, "Oh, Andy, that's you," well, enough, you'd probably chuck it actually. If they were like, "Aye, Andy, that's you," you'd be like, "Aye, all right then." But I think it's something you need because sometimes people do want to give up. You know what I mean? Like in their head, they're
Mm.
like, "Oh, I'm just waiting." But I feel I'm always striving for the best. I'm always wanting to dig that wee bit deeper. I'm like, you know what, Andy, you've got it. Come on, keep it. And then with somebody saying that to me as well, I'm like, aye, you're right, I do.
I think as well sometimes a lot of people watch the clock, and that's the worst thing
Yeah,
that you can
aye,
do.
that's true.
So I
Watching it, they're
think
like,
I can't remember if you would, but anytime that someone starts looking at the clock, I either cover it or I'm just like, stop looking at that clock. You've got more in there. Let's push.
stop that watch. You cheat.
In preparation for your fights, like obviously you've got your coaching team. How much tape is watched on your opponent, and how much of that preparation takes into effect?
So for me personally, I don't really watch much. Well, I do watch boxing, but I don't really watch much tape on my opponents. I do watch it. Like I'm not saying I don't watch it like pure religiously, like because I don't. But I will watch maybe one or two of their fights. Kind of maybe try and look at something that I could maybe pick a flaw in. But pardon me, and again, like hiccups here. But my coaches normally they watch a lot of my opponent's fights and they'll be like, "Oh, Andrew, I think he's got a lazy left hand or something like that, or he's got a lazy hand. So I think you could maybe jab up top, jab down low, and he'll bring it maybe his backhand down, loop over the top or something like that. You know what I mean? So they'll pick up things. They'll be like, "Oh, Andrew, after he throws like a 1-2, he puts his hands down. So after he
Mm,
throws a 1-2, just jump in, just things like that. Just they might come out. They'll come out with small things. They'll be like, "Oh, he's got a lazy left hook. Come over the top."
yeah.
So,
So how does that then translate into sort of the work that you do in the gym?
so they most of the time they'll end up on the pads. It will just be drilled. You're getting drilled certain combinations and on pads. You'll get drilled. All right, okay, because you were working on the double jab backhand or something like that. Boom, 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 and then variate it up, low, back up, or up, low, low. Then just kind of try and drill them. Just trying to work on it, just so you. Because if you don't do it on the pads and the bags, it's not as if you're going to bring it in sparring.
Mm,
So it's kind of. I guess you got to try and get it into your head so you actually do it.
yeah. And then how much of that, what are they saying in between these training sessions to you? Like, how are they pushing you to get these sort of things automated into your head?
Well, if it's Johnny, man, that guy's always giving me grief no matter what. He's always just giving me grief. You obviously didn't meet Johnny, you met Francie.
Yeah, I'm in
But
France.
Johnny's just always giving me grief. Big man's just like coming back. Just goes, even in that fight there, I think was it the third round? Aye, so the third round I dropped him, right? And I
Mm,
dropped the boy, and I came back after that round, and obviously it was on TV, and he was kind of suspicious, like, just in case like the cameras could hear. So I came in close, man, and goes, "Ah, right, this is me, boy." So this is me, and he comes in, and he's like, "What the fuck was that?" And I was like, He was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "What the fuck was that?" He was like, "You fucking had him away, and you let it go." And I was like, "There's no winning." Because last time he was like, "Oh, you jump in." And you got yourself caught with like a shot. He was like, so just stay calm and kind of work your way, work your way in, pick the shots and look for him. Don't just pure load up and come out swinging. And then he's like, aye, he was gone. He was like, you should have jumped on him. I was like, well, there's no winning. If I jump on him, you're going to complain for jumping him. I don't jump on him. I should have jumped on him. There's no
yeah.
win.
So what's those conversations like in between rounds for that fight?
Well, I just listen. I don't really. I it's not as if I'm going to turn around and go, "Hey, what you talking about? That's what you told me to do." You know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, just try and take my nice deep breaths, control my breathing, get a wee bit of water, take in what he's saying. If he's saying, "Oh, you're not doing this enough, try this. I think this will work," then I'll obviously try and implement it, and I'll go out in the start of the round and we'll try and establish. Say if he says establish the jab a bit better, take the centre of the ring, then obviously that's what you're going to try and implement. So, yeah, I do take on his advice, but sometimes he's just a madman. He just likes to complain at me. He's never got anything good to say.
That's a good point though, because you did drop him in the third round, and then on the sixth round, which that's when you put him away. What sort of? I'm guessing that's why you lunged forward after him after you connected those two
See,
clean.
that's what my coaches all say though. So all my coaches are like, "Oh, Andrew, you're too nice." And I'm saying, "Well, what do you want with me? That's just me." They're like, "No, you're too nice. You got to have that. You got to have that mean streak in that in you. You got to have that mean streak." And I was like, in the ring, I wouldn't say I'm nice. You know what I mean? But they're like, "Oh no." But I seen that he was away, so obviously I tried to jump on him. Maybe that's what they're trying to tell me. Like, "Oh, Andrew, you've got to be more aggressive." So maybe that's why I done it. Who knows? Don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, I'm going to smack him. Gonna absolute pelt him and all. And, but where was I going with
we
that? I
can we can
forgot.
watch it back. Let's watch it back.
Astra. We'll watch it back. Here we go. Here we go. Top of the year, man, wasn't it? It's not been buzzing.
So obviously that is something that you implemented after your sort of coach told you to be a little bit more aggressive. What were
Yeah.
your thoughts during those that combination?
Well, when I hit him the first time and it hurt him,
Yeah.
I was just thinking, oh, I better put my weight now. Yeah, run down. So when I hurt him and I seen him like fall back, and I was like, "Oh, it's time. It's time for a big shot now." uh, no, I think maybe his voice was in my head. Oh, Andy, stop being too nice. Stop being nice. And I'm like, I'm nice to an extent.
That's something that we sort of heard right at the beginning of that um, commentary is that he obviously said that he was going to put you away on the sixth round. How did that impact and how does it feel it happening the reverse? So you put him away on the sixth round.
I don't know. See, to be honest, I probably forgot that he even said he was going to put me in the sixth round. But see him watching it back, and then obviously when it comes up to like the B previews, sixth round, I've got him. Then I put him in the sixth round. It's just what do you call it? It's karma, I guess. It's just sweet nectar.
So did that sort of obviously it didn't have much of an impact on you, but what was your thoughts when you did what he said he was going to do to you?
I just relish in the glory. But no, it was quite nice to be honest. It was because obviously he was getting all the. He's all right. He's a nice guy, so must kind of feel gutting for him. But he was
Mm,
great for me.
yeah, that's another
Op-
thing that obviously I've spoke to you about was the biased that the commentary was towards him. How does that sort of make you feel now watching that back?
Oh, it's lovely because obviously the Alex Arthur, fucking great boxer and all, but he must have. I think he trained with Alex Arthur for a bit, so obviously he knows him. So obviously he's going to big him up. You know what I mean? He's like,
Mm,
oh, he can punch. Oh, he's a good boxer. He's a good counter puncher. Which, in all truly, right, he is. But just better. You know, what you do. But now
yeah,
next time it'll be like, oh, Andy Tam's great. Andy Tam's will pass that. This time I'll
although
get a bit of glory.
yeah,
Oh, please.
there was a clear switch between sort of them talking about how great he was to then him being ineffective and then you coming out on top. Does that sort of make you feel a certain type of way when you hear that back?
Not really, to be honest. I'm not, but it's quite nice because they're like, oh yeah, he's really effective. He's got big heavy hands. And it didn't even matter. Don't worry about it. I've got it in the bag. That's what I said in the thing. I was like, had it in the bag. I think I said that in an interview. I was like, they're like, oh, because you won the amateurs and that. Did you think that gave you an edge? I was like, nah, had it in the bag to begin with. Didn't even matter.
How was it sort of being under obviously a legendary fight at the end?
It's madness, to be honest. I still can't believe that was co-main event. I remember. I think I got told maybe 2 or 3 weeks before. Like, obviously, the fight and the little Andy, you're going to be co-main event, and I was like, didn't actually think it was going to be me. You know what I mean? I was like, is it really? And then it was, but I can't complain.
Yeah, I
Worked out
mean,
for me.
yeah, like that was an amazing sort of co-main event. Obviously, the main event was what it was. It was a brilliant fight,
Yeah.
but sort of coming as an undercard from that, not an undercard, a co-main event. What was sort of the outcome of that? Obviously, we saw your interviews and all that stuff afterwards. How does that feel?
So I think I've been recognised maybe like twice, which was quite nice. I think the first time I got recognised, I think it was like the day after. I think I was driving. I think I was going. I don't know where I was going. I was driving anyway. I was at the roundabout near my bit in Craig Lynn, just parked at this roundabout, obviously waiting at the lights. And then somebody was driving round, and then they seen me, and then they were like, and I was it. You know what I mean? That was it. So, and then one time somebody noticed me, and like, yeah, I was like, I think I was working up the fort or something like that, like Glasgow Fort. So I
Mm.
was working up there, and then somebody was like, "Oh, see you in the TV, well done, sir." And I was like, "Oh, thanks very much." Pure buzz. Was it? See that big man? That guy knows me to the TV. But nah, it's been good though.
Yeah, what was sort of the interview processes like after the fight? Obviously, you came up straight off the ring and into an interview. What was that like?
I mean, I was absolutely missing. See, to be honest, probably nobody should be asking me a question. I remember I came straight at the BBC, like, well, straight out, and then the BBC woman was like, "Oh, hi, Andrew, I barely remember." She was like, "Oh, I'm Cassandra," whatever her name was, and then she was like, "You're about to go live on the BBC, so don't swear." And I was like, "Oh, dear Lord, I swear all the time, man." I think I've sworn a couple of times, but I've been trying to keep it low, try not to swear as much. But
The Glaswegian
I was
accent
just like
hides it.
the fear, the fear. I had the fear, man. I was like, "Oh dear, man." They're like, "Oh, so how did you feel, Andrew?" And I was trying to think of like pure sophisticated big words because they were like, "How did you feel?" And I wanted to go, "I'm buzzing. Oh, I feel great." But I was like, "I feel ecstatic." You know what I mean? Trying to think of pure fancy words in my head, like, "Oh dear, what's a real nice word to say?" Like happy or like ecstatic. Like that. Probably reading the dictionary that day before I went in. I was like, "Okay, that sounds nice. Ecstatic."
What sort of like the next steps that you have planned for sort of your career?
Sorry, mate.
Are you good?
Pure made the funky noise. My brother's gaff. Because we did try to do this interview before and it turned out terribly because me and my absolute terrible internet getting about. I swear to God, I checked it like the other day and I think I was getting like four megabytes or something. It was like 16 actually, but four is probably a bit excessive. But yeah, it was terrible. But what were you saying? Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask like, what's the next moves for you? Like, where do you hope to be in sort of a year or two?
I want to push as far as I can go. To be honest, I'd like to hope I could get to world level. You know, so train as hard as I can. Always grafting, take on fights, see where we go.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Like you previously mentioned that the way that people go full time with boxing is through sponsorships and all that stuff. How is it going getting about like getting sponsors and whatnot to sort of help you through the fight camps?
I don't have a bloody damn clue. I just pop it in like my wee Instagram bits. I'm like, "Oh, you want to sponsor me?" I was like, "Just hit me up with a wee DM or something." But yeah, I don't actually really know. But a lot of my sponsors, like, where is it? That one's not really there anymore. But there's a couple that should be on my t-shirt. They are great companies, just helping out somebody that's local. Or if anybody does want to sponsor me, man, just feel free. Find me on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know. Find my number. Get off money. And give me a phone call back here, Andrew. We want to help you. And I'll be like, not a problem.
So that's his Instagram.
Andy Time one. Somebody give me a call. Somebody give me somebody give me some money.
There's a title as well.
Yep.
What's it? What's the feeling like after holding that title up?
Oh, was it? It was great. But I remember like the guy after the fight it was just he was like, "Oh, you want the belt?" And I was like, "Oh, I've use the belt." I was like, "Yes, thank you. Forgot about that." So even when I came out of the interview, the woman was like, "Oh, I can't remember what she said. But she said, "Oh, it was great. Blah blah blah. How did you feel?" I was like, "How much you buzzing be on the TV?" You know what I mean? I wasn't even kidding. So I was just excited, you know.
Yeah. No, like obviously I've watched your sort of career for the past year or so. And it has been sort of amazing and we've always went back and forward and just sort of shared some tips and whatnot. It was lovely having you on, Andy. Obviously thank you for doing this interview. Do you want to shout out your sponsors and Instagram and all that?
They are really good to me. To be honest, like I've got loads of great sponsors, but they really do help me out. Big Derek Skinner for the club, Skinner Constructions, Johnny the man helped me out. My company at the moment, VWS. Shout out to them. Great company, lovely people. Hashtag here, my auntie Jenny, you know what I mean? Right there. Hashtag here. She thought me with all my free haircuts and that. You know? can I get a wee fresh trim? Right enough, I'm getting one this weekend, so don't leave my hair out. I'll send you a picture. You can just like edit it on my wee head. Big Julie for the club, Julie Kavanagh, therapies, massages, yourself, Manny.
Well, thank you.
Primitive, mate. Can't thank you enough. You came out fight week, helped me out, wee bit of mobility. We rubbed there in that, you know what I mean? Armed security as well. North Fire Security Company. Mac Tylan, they've always been helping out. And then one of my new ones, Reload Prep. Clearly the TV hang was good.
Mm,
Got a wee sponsors it. They help me out with like meal prep and that. So
yeah.
weekend's gonna be great.
So is that something that came straight after the fight? That meal prep?
Pretty much, yeah. They end up messaging me. When did they message me? I think it was a couple of days later. They were congratulating me about my fight, and I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, thanks very much." Oh wait, there's one I forgot in Spa Scotland. Big Joe from the Spa Scotland. But probably something's going to pop in my head, and I'll be like, "Manny, can you edit this in and add them in?" Because I totally forgot about them. What was I saying? Sorry, I forgot mid sentence. I was clearly distracted by
Meal
Big
prep.
Joe. Oh, meal prep. Oh yeah, they messaged me like, after my fight, congratulating me, and I was like, "Oh, thanks very much." And I was like, "Oh, I was like, maybe I can message you later on when I'm coming up for another fight, and just because
Mm.
it would help, to be honest, like
Getting your meals.
getting meals and that made." And I was like, maybe we could do something. They were like, "Oh, we'll sponsor you," and I was like, "Not a problem, free food." Greedy man, no, but no, great company, and the food has been absolutely fantastic so far. I had this
I've,
like Kinder Porridge one the other day, and I'm telling you, it was the business end.
no, we spoke about it because obviously I know that you got a sponsorship from them after the fight, and the sort of meals that you're putting up on your Instagram are
Real tasty.
they look real tasty.
There's also another one, mate. See, one time if you come down, because we're gonna have to get another session in sometime soon, or else I'll come up. This pancake one, deadly, deadly.
Deadly.
Honest to God. Clearly, I'm all about the sweeties. You know what I mean? Cup of tea in the morning. And there's me and my wee Kinder Porridge thing, or cup of tea. And the weekend, I save the pancakes and that for like the weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, eat pancakes in the morning. But oh, they're so good.
Yeah, so is that something that you save for the weekends? Is your little treats?
No, I think I just save it because then I get to see getting up for work and that. Then you have to get
Mm.
up early, but then the weekend I'm like, technically I run whenever I really want. I still like to get up early and run, but I could get up, run, and then come home, then sit back in bed. Most of the time I'll make a wee cup of tea, sit in bed, eat some breakfast, tasty
Mm.
pancakes and stuff. Yeah. Before it was probably just porridge or something like that, something crap, but now I've got the good gear.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Andy.
Cheers, Manny.
Peace.